Ladies and gentlemen, now today I wanted to have just a bit of an honest chat about why I'm going to be leaving my alliance and going pretty casual, at least for the next month and a bit, the next season of Alliance War, maybe a little bit after that, because I think it just boils down to I am not having fun with Alliance Quest or Alliance War, and also I feel no motivation to do either one of those. And I think it is maybe due to the fact that I'm a very hardcore, I'm a very endgame player. You know, we've done Abyss of Legends 100%, we've done Act 6 100%, and in that stuff, you get stuff like, 6-star Awakening Gems, T5CC, and with AQ and AW, it's a lot of stuff to do on a weekly basis. And the rewards, I'm just not interested in either of them. Like Alliance War, if you really want to play it properly, it's just so much stress for an entire month for just the tiniest amount of T5CC, man. The rewards are just stupidly low and just so inconsequential that I just don't care. I feel like they've had Cyber Monday Odin's bundles that kind of offer more than a good season of Alliance War for most alliances. And it's just, yeah, it just gets worse and worse, like Alliance War, because there are 6-star rank 3 champions on defense, all these new nodes that they keep on coming out with, the power gain one, even with a fix, well-timed blocks are going to stop the power gain. It's still just rubbish. It's still just really unfun to play. And it just adds even more stress to a mode of gameplay that is just really unfun. And I've never really viewed Alliance War as... There are times that I have enjoyed it, but it's not really like the PvP that I've ever wanted to see out of this game. I always wanted smaller scale, faster paced stuff, because I feel like Alliance War is way too big to have that individual sense of excitement and kind of accountability. Because yeah, I don't know, I've just never really enjoyed Alliance War. I think it's way too big and drawn out over this 48-hour period. And yeah, I just want kind of quick snappy PvP, can learn from my mistakes, go in, keep on improving. And I've asked for that for years and years, but it doesn't seem to be on the agenda at all. And then we got Alliance Quest, and I enjoyed map 7 for a fair amount of time. When it initially came out, I think it was a fun little challenge to learn, but the thing is, it just is so repetitive. It's just constantly the same thing over and over again. You got your path, you clear your path, you have to log in about 4 to 6 intervals depending on your path for every 24 hours to make moves and stuff. So yeah, I think I'm just a little bit burned out of Alliance Quest and the repetition and, just having to constantly log in and check where people are at and check chat apps and that for, again, rewards that I just don't really care about that much, because there's a load of tier 5 basic, man. I think they did a really good job for a lot of progressing players, revamping the glory store and cutting those costs down. However, at the level that I'm at, man, it's just I've got so many maxed out 5-star champions, and again, these are first world whale problems here, man, that I don't really care too much about tier 5 basic anymore. But also with the future content, I've kind of found myself I don't really even care about 6-star rank 3s anymore. I think it kind of boils down to this fact that I just don't know where the game is going at the moment. And I really didn't enjoy the majority of Act 6, man. Act 6, it's really good fights. The Grandmaster is the saving grace of 6.4. I think if the, Act 6 didn't finish with the Grandmaster, there would have been a very different reception overall to 6.4. Granted, most of the bosses aren't too bad. These 4, they're pretty straightforward. Darkhawk is horrible, though. Just a ridiculously niche boss. And there are so many paths and nodes that are just incredibly niche across Act 6. And the endgame stuff is just... It feels like it's being constantly built for 20, 25 champions, and there are 170 characters in this game. and it feels like 80% of the characters that they either release or just put into the crystal pools have like no relevance. So this is another demotivating factor as well, is that I keep on going for like the 6-star feature crystal, but even if I went for the basic, I'd probably have a very similar situation of I'm getting like all these additional champions, like, you know, friggin' Joe Fixit, Magneto Marvel Now, Civil Warrior, and I'm gambling for these characters, and they've got no use. You just cannot use them. If you're a player of my level, if you're somebody that's, you know, done 100% Act 6, you're looking to maybe like build up a roster for the future Act 7, what use do you have for these characters? They haven't updated them in like 4 or 5 years. And when you spend like all this time like grinding and doing stuff and like spending money like I do, it's just really demotivating. Like, I can barely bring myself to 100% uncollected, because I know if I do, like, I'm just looking, you know, the, what was it, 2,500 6-star shards, and I'm like, well, that's like 1/6 of a Miles Morales, and I just, you know, now I'm like, oh, well, I just don't really want to bother chucking, what was it, 4 or 5 hours to 100% uncollected for something that isn't gonna like get me anywhere or get me any value. So again, that is a bit of a first world whale problem there, but it's just so demotivating that they just keep on like funneling in these characters into, you know, newer crystal pools that they're creating, the 6-star one, the 6-star featured, and these champions for people that can actually get 6-star shards, they have no relevance. They're just completely useless. It's just like, you know, an L pops up and you've just got to take it, man. And you could say, oh, you know, you could use those champions to grind arena, but arena's so boring, man. Arena is tediously boring. And again, if you're like a Megalodon whale at my position as well, you know, you're just not playing arena. You've got no friggin' interest in it at all. And yeah, it's really, really disheartening. I just hate the direction that they've gone for the majority of Act 6, and I again need to think about this like a little bit more, but I think it's just the fact that, you know, there are such niche requirements in so many different scenarios. You need very, very specific characters. And what I really like about Act 5, because I do all sorts of gameplay videos, especially when we're looking at, you know, new 5-star champions, maxed out 4-star. There's so much stuff you can go into Act 5 with any champion, and you can just have fun. You can just have a really, really good time playing about with any character. You don't need to worry about all these additional variables. But Act 6 as well, on top of all these additional variables, you just have stupid attack values, like really, really silly attack values. And if characters don't have like a certain amount of block proficiency, they're going to get wrecked on the parries. Even if they do, they're going to get chipped down like quite substantially. Like one tiny little mistake as well in Act 6 is just going to kill you in the majority of places, and there's not really too much you can do about that. So yeah, I just found like doing 100% Act 6 a couple of months ago, I just wasn't having fun for the most of it, because it just kind of became like, okay, like there are all these criteria and scenarios, what's the best option? Oh, well, it's use Ghost or Quake. And honestly, man, it just gets to the point where it just feels so dull and so boring and so repetitive, because you can't like freely explore and play around with the characters you want to play around with. So just enjoyment wise, again, I wasn't enjoying Act 6. I did not have fun with it at all. I had a lot of fun in Act 5. I had a decent amount of fun in Abyss of Legends, but I think Abyss of Legends, there are some really, really good fights in there, but also Abyss of Legends is the super high Everest crazy challenge, and it does have like fights that really are quite dull in there as well. So there's hit and miss, but overall Abyss of Legends far more rewarding, far more enjoyable than Act 6 to do, and it definitely does feel like a really, really big achievement, whereas Act 6, it just feels like a slog, man. It was so dull. But again, aside from the Grandmaster fight is incredible. It's amazing, for the very core reason that, you know, it doesn't have all these like niche criteria. You can bring in any champion and make that fight work, and it's just really fun to do because it kind of shakes it up in this enjoyable way where you're completing these various tasks, but for doing those various tasks, you're getting like massive damage rewards when he's stunned. And yeah, it's just a fantastic fight. And I understand not every fight can be like the Grandmaster, but I think like themes of the Grandmaster fight can be applied to nodes, which give characters certain bonuses for using you know, all sorts of different play styles, combos, instead of just this constant like punishment of like unique criteria that you need to overcome certain scenarios and crazy block damage. Like even the Grandmaster, his attack is actually like, I think probably the lowest attack out of every single fight in Act 6, man, but they still push these crazy attack values everywhere, and it just makes it so dull. And like looking at friggin' Act 7 on the beta, man, I'm so demotivated. Like I just look at Act 7 and I'm like, really? Do I want more of Act 6? Do I want to play more of that? I'm like, no, they've learned nothing, man. It feels like they've learned nothing about how to actually make enjoyable content. They're just making this like crazy specific challenge stuff for like 20 champions that are just so good that they can do it with like enough revives and enough health potions as well. And it just feels dull, man. I feel like they have literally just gone like the worst possible direction when it comes to the actual like story stuff in this game. The act stuff, it's meant to be fun, it's meant to be enjoyable, and I feel like they are so far away from that at the moment that it's killed my motivation to like push forward in this game and just like stay on the grind. So yeah, I feel like I'm just burnt out, man. I'm just burnt out. I'm sick of just friggin' everything. I just feel like game design wise, a lot of the decisions they make when it comes to the story stuff is just not going in a good direction, and it's like, what am I looking forward to in the future now? And it's like, I can't really say like anything. Like we've just had like Abyss of Legends, so it's going to be like years before we see another one of them. Like incursions are really cool, like they're really fun to play. However, the thing is, they could have been so much more in terms of what they offer, and also in terms of like they could have been this real competitive thing and had like a leaderboard and just a bit more excitement to them instead of being like this 5-day cycle grind. But I like the core design of incursions. I think they're are very fun to play around with. However, as somebody that has like every 5-star champion in the game and like a crazy amount of gold as well, like I've just got no interest in playing incursions. And I think that's like a big demotivating factor for a lot of people as well, is that like even if you do play incursions, there's just so much friggin' trash that you can get out of crystals, that's just like just borderline unusable, man. Just, well, pretty much straight up unusable. And a lot of the new challenges that are being constantly presented. So yeah, I just feel burned out. I need to step back from my alliance and have a bit of a break, just return to enjoying the game at like just lower levels and like playing about with the new characters and having a little bit of fun in, you know, 3-star versions and Act 5. And yeah, I just need to chill for a little bit because I'm just not enjoying the game like I used to, man. And it upsets me to say, because I've really loved this game for like the last 4 years, and we've had so many crazy times, but I just barely find myself motivated to play on my main account, let alone my free-to-play account, because I know there are all these additional hurdles, and it's like I just can't be bothered, man. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if that does a good job of conveying my thoughts, but I'm just a bit burned out with Marvel Contest of Champions at the moment. Just don't feel like the game's going in the direction that I want it to go in, and I'm just not having fun. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Take care, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.